And then you said change it to speakers view.
Well, yeah, either drag it over to your screen or set it to, hit the thing on the left, the button on the left there. And that way it won't cover the slides.
Okay. I'll put it right here. Thank you. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the instruction. Yes. Appreciate each of you all on Zoom and also in person as well. And so we'll get started at 9:05. But the reason we'll get started at 9:05 because I know some people in this room know each other and some people do not. And so I have instructions on the screen so you can pair up, meet someone new, work the room a little bit as well. So introduce yourself, your name, title, and one passion you have and why. And those who are in Zoom, you're going to do the exact same thing as well. It might be a little easier if you all type it out in Zoom. So I'll be looking at Zoom and then interacting in person as well. So as I emailed you all, it's going to be a very interactive activity. So let's get started.
Can I join your?
Yes.
Got you. That's why.
You have the choice of which one. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So what's your primary? What do you do?
I mainly advise for broadcasting and public installations, and then I kind of fill in for business.
Yeah. So Melissa, I know very well with our online majors.
I really do try
And
to
I'm
out.
helping
Like,
out.
when I did my interview, there was a couple
Maggie
students in
Schmaltz
the
was the
process,
assistant director.
and I asked them, like, what do you want from the new director? A person, like, go to things, these places. So I really try to be intentional about it.
So I'm here. Well, last week because this week
That's fun.
workshops and everything. So
Very different.
yes, yeah. So it says one passion.
I know when I saw the questions, it's like such a thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
So
passion.
for this semester, is to
It's
try to
actually teaching.
there's a couple times like
Ever since I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher.
Just like, don't bring lunch someday,
And
and
my
just,
path,
you know,
I
go to the dining hall, start
actually
grab some cookies from them.
Oh,
focus on English and language arts.
Okay.
But that kind of changed.
Yeah.
I always do want to get
Hey. Well, I see a lot of red wipers doing
Yeah,
it
I
because
just
they have a meal plan,
So they're just introducing themselves, doing this, the name, title, one passion you have and why. So really the interaction amongst each other. And then we'll start at 9:05.
Do you teach still during the semester?
Yes, I teach, and I'm actually teaching winter. I teach all year.
Oh,
I'm
fun.
doing winter right now. I teach pretty much
You have to remind me.
all of our courses. All of our core courses for the major, we have covenants, we have core, and then we have electives. But I teach our intro course.
Say that one more time.
I teach our
It was like a good send off.
really core courses, which is
Being back in
48.
this level.
How
much, how
and the 48 they evaluate them. And then I also run the internship. All of our courses.
So you see them like the whole way.
I do. It's funny. Some of the students they joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's other teachers that teach just kind of how it felt.
Right. So should we share?
I was thinking the passion was like, I don't know why it's going to mind, but I'm like really passionate
I don't know if that's.
and then there's more like a personal and a professional one. But like I just like love like Broadway theater, like community theater. Like I think it's just such a fun expression. It's just like people like interested in theater, like I'm just very involved in theater. But, like that's immediately what I thought of.
Oh,
And I was like, maybe I should say something more like professional or like not.
No, that's fine. Do you go to something?
I haven't had an opportunity yet. Since we just moved
Hey, doing well. How you doing? Thanks for
And then you
coming.
just wanna-
Yes.
That's what I was.
So we'll have a few more minutes of introduction, so you can get into either group if you like. Yes, or pair up. You could join. Oh well, you would join already. No, each other. Yes.
Won the tournament. It was like 20 degrees, everyone's freezing, snow on the ground. And again, like, you know, for this tournament, it's always hard to kind of get guys warm out to it just because it's so painful. So you really gotta love it to do this. You know, versus some guys call themselves fair weather players, meaning they will only play when it's nice out. So I was able to scrape together the exact number of guys that I needed to enter this tournament. We ended up winning it. So, and I coached the women's rugby.
So yeah, just trying to do
So
that,
I'm
but yeah,
just
that's
more
actually,
lucky
there's
around
one
it.
that's for sale right now.
All right, everyone. We'll come back. We'll come back together. We'll come back together. It was great. You all were having great conversations, and especially for I believe from the break, the holiday break, a lot of us miss each other. I've seen you all were talking about some updates, giving each other updates. And in the chat, they really talked about the same thing, talked about some of their passions as well. So thank you both in person and Zoom for sharing those and engaging. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the reason you all are here, as we talked about. Oh yes, good always.
Yeah.
I'll just leave. I was just trying to get the people that were on there.
Well, no, just mute
It
your
didn't,
mic.
it was muted. I think it's from the, I don't know, that was weird. Anyway.
That was
it's fine.
weird.
I don't know why-
Technology.
You're throwing him a curveball.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I just logged out. I'll look. I don't know why it's doing it. It was paused with the mic. But.
Oh wow. So yeah, that's technology. So we're here about self-advocacy related to burnout, but this topic here is personal for me. As I know I've experienced burnout before, even aspects of burnout. Probably you all have felt that way as well. So this is a time intentionally to focus on you. And we're going to have some engaging activities to do as well. So everyone, my name is Terrian, as you saw on the screen. So we're going to give to ourselves, give back to ourselves. So we're going to take 5 breaths, okay? So those in person, you would do it. Those on Zoom, you would do it as follow along with me. We're going to take 5 breaths, so 5 rounds. I'm going to start the first 3. So I'm going to give instructions. We're going to hold, we're going to breathe in through our nostrils, hold for 5 seconds. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to release through our mouth, and then we're going to hold for 5 seconds, okay? So I'm going to do 3 rounds, guided, and then the last 2 rounds, we're going to follow the same pace. You'll get used to the pace by 2 or 3, okay? All right. So round 1, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Round 2. Breathe in. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Round 3. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Round 4. Round 5. Thank you. So this presentation is very intentional. We're starting off with we're talking about self-advocacy, giving back to ourselves. The best way to give back to ourselves is to be present. There's so much going on. There's so much work that we have. It's early in the morning. It's Tuesday. It feels like a Monday, but it's Tuesday. The best way to give back to ourselves is with our breath and to feel present. So I hope you all feel present at this moment and that you will engage moving forward. Okay. All right, so this is the learning outcomes with the focus on introducing the SOAR method to you all. You may have heard of the SOAR method, you may have not heard of the SOAR method, so I'll go through it. We're going to focus on the engaging activity with each other. There's going to be instruction for those in person and instruction for those remotely. And then there's going to be a chance and opportunity for you to think about your own personal situation where you can use this approach as well. All right. One of the things in our work in higher education and at SUNY Oswego that I'm very proud of is that our land acknowledgement is on our website. So when thinking about advocacy, when thinking about the truth telling, one of the aspects is recognizing that we are on the Onondaga Nation's land. The Onondaga Nation is part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. So the land acknowledgement is one step in the advocacy and the truth telling and providing justice. But as you read this, as you think about aspects moving forward, like how can we acknowledge this? We use this statement, but what is the action that we do? What are the personal actions that we do? What does your department do? What do you do outside of work as well in recognizing and recognizing that this is not our land, we are on borrowed land. So how do we make sure to give honor to that, but also to honor to our indigenous people, but also what action that we can do to restore the colonization that has happened in the United States. All right. So thank you all for those that registered. I sent you all an email regarding the community agreement. So again, intentionality, community agreements, all of us are coming through these spaces in different ways, different thought processes. I started this off, we in the Institute started this off, any meeting that we have to make sure can we be on common ground amongst each other as we talk about and present amongst each other, but also engage and learn from each other as well. So I emailed that to you all, a longer list, but as you see on the screen, there are also aspects here that we can, that we will focus on for our meeting today, our interaction today. All right, there's two major focus of our presentation, of our workshop. One is going to be the content and the group activity, which I'm almost done talking. Then we're going to do a lot more of the group activity in person and remotely. And then I'm going to go, the second part of this is the wrap up and thinking about your own personal experience or professional experience to where you can use the method. So first thing first, burnout. This was a Gallup survey, as you see, the US workers burnout rate by industry. This was in 2022. This was administered in June. So a few months ago, they surveyed over 12,000 individuals in different industries. And you can see the top two are in K through 12 and also colleges and universities.
If you could stop the share and then share the other screen, because it's kind of fine print.
Oh,
it's a little hard
yes.
for the remote people to see.
Yes, okay. Sorry about that. So stop sharing.
And yeah, and then share that screen. It's screen 2, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Thank you.
better.
Thank you. Thank you. So those two, if you think of two, and even if you think about the third one as well, helping professions. There are some commonalities between the work that each of them do, but helping individuals, even thinking about, regardless of your role, We're here because of students, regardless of our interaction. And so we're helping students, but I want you to think, how are we helping ourselves? Next. Okay. The next is data from the College and University Professional Association for Human Resources, where their human resources job is to advocate and to be there for the people in the organization or institution. So they survey individual based on their satisfaction in the higher education work environment. And there are aspects where people are satisfied, but look at the three, especially the three highest numbers of dissatisfaction. All of that is rotated around investment. The investment towards someone's career trajectory, the investment towards someone being paid fairly, being paid equitably as well. So all of this, as it relates to a burnout, as it relates to just how we feel in our workspace, which we spend a lot of time in our workspaces, how we can or are burned out is the lack of investment. And there's other factors too that can add to that as well. All right, so you all have a picture of regarding burnout. So burnout and advocacy. Going back to to the first slide, where the industry of college and universities, we have been set up and structured to give back to our students. When I got into higher education, I would always hear, I do it for the students. I do it for the students. Yes. But what about you? You're a person. It's totally fine to say, hey, I do this for the students, but I also do this for me too. But what does that look like? And sometimes we can give so much to individuals. Like once our cup is empty, what happens to us when we give so much to others? So we have to find ways to pour into our own cups as well. So advocacy is a part of it. So we're advocates. Have you thought about that? We're advocates. We are advocating each and every day. But who is advocating for you? You may have someone in your office that does it. You may vocally share, you may not vocally share it. But the person responsible for advocating for themselves should start with you, should start with me, for myself. So this is the definition of advocacy. And advocacy is one step, not self-advocacy is one step towards helping and assisting with burnout. There are other ways as well. But I think that's a start. That's the foundation, figuring out what we can do to help and support ourselves. So personally for me, I thought about quitting one of my jobs because I was burned out. I was tired, I was exhausted. I felt that I wasn't heard. I wasn't provided the adequate resources to be successful in my role. And I said, I'm done with this. It started to show in my work too, and how I showed up each and every day. So I talked to one of my mentors about it, and I was just frustrated. I was like, and she said, did you talk to your supervisors about this, about what your wants and needs are? And I'm thinking, they should know this. They should know this about me. They should know it. And I'm like, no, I don't think I ever specifically told them. I probably have shared and advocated during our one-on-ones about things, but I never came up with a detailed plan of this is what I want, this is what I need, this will make me successful, meeting them halfway, seeing where they stand, what are some barriers that exist? Because sometimes we can assume things can just happen like that, but there are probably barriers that we don't understand, especially thinking about our supervisors, regardless of what their role is. We can think about our needs, but we may not think about some of the barriers that do exist. So from that situation, I came up with some detailed things of what I needed to be successful, what I needed for support in my role. And I had a meeting with them. And I talked about, these are the things that I want. These are things that I need. Where can we meet halfway? What are some things that I didn't know? And from that meeting of me going to them, sharing and articulating that, I understood like, okay, hey, I want a GA, a graduate assistant. You think, oh, it's so easy. Like, okay, we have funds to get this GA, but we don't, like, why can I not get a GA? And there were some structural things that I had to provide to them, like, okay, this department leader is going to want a reason as to why. We also have to find the funding as to why. There's these other structural pieces too that you could look into, but I didn't think about that. I just thought like I needed this, but there were some structures that I didn't know about. So that was a way that really helped me position where do I stand and have some more clarity. So I took control over what my journey would be. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go into the group activity. So I'm going to present to you the SOAR method. The SOAR method is very similar to the SWOT analysis. The difference is this is through an appreciative inquiry. So this is looking at the positive and action-based approach. As you see, it is aspiration and results. So for those in the room that can see across, we have four Post-it notes with these on there. And so for this group activity, I'm going to give the instructions first to the individuals in person, and then the individuals in Zoom, I'm going to go to you all next, but I do need one volunteer. So I want you all to strategically figure out which one of you all would like to volunteer. This person will help me with timing. So while I help the in-person individuals, I'm going to go to the remote people next. Just by the time I come, I would like to hear from who would like to volunteer. Okay. All right. So for my in-person individuals, there at the end of the table, there are sticky notes and there are pens and permanent markers and a few pens. Your responsibility is to go around the room. You can, you all don't have to start the same one. You can start at either or. You're going to rotate. You're going to have, let me go to my next slide. I want to stop sharing. Oh, sorry. Oh, do I need to do screen two, then this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have the link, just put it right in screen too.
I'm gonna add the link to the chat. I need to go to. So I'm gonna have to. All right. So I posted the Jamboard on there. So this is the instructions for everyone. So you all are going to utilize this both in person and remotely. So you have 4 minutes on each one, on each paper. So read over this activity where we're focusing on the professional development using the SOAR method. So for my in-person individuals, you can, again, go to either one of those. You're going to use the Post-it notes, the yellow Post-it notes to put on there. You're going to think about this activity, some aspects focusing on yourself, and also about the professional development opportunity as well. So that professional development opportunity may look different for you. That's okay. You may say something different than someone else. That's totally fine. Make sure to just post it on there. You don't have to put your name or anything on there. So just walk around, engage 4 minutes in one, then rotate to the next one. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. So for those in Zoom, what so you all have access, I put it in the chat regarding the Jamboard. So let me go back to All right, so regarding the Jamboard, I want to show you all what to do. So you're going to go to Scranks. And so for each of you all, you're going to, if you go to sticky note here, let's say you write a comment about so I know some people may be new to Jamboard, some people may not be. What you're going to do once you click sticky note and put it here. Who's my volunteer? Who's like the volunteer to keep time?
I can keep time.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Before minutes per slide. So you all will navigate through this. Again, sticky note, put it on here, post it anywhere here, and then just go from slide to slide. Each of them, so you have the opportunity. So you'll go through each one and just navigate through there. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you all.
It'll be anonymous.
It's like, wow, that's a strong word for me.
What's going on?
If you have a question, I can interpret it.
I just made it work. Towards professional development.
Check.
Your pen might just run out of ink.
time we're starting.
Okay.
The first one.
There are definitely some great ones shared, both in person and remotely. So you all have a few more minutes. Make sure to use there's also the opportunities, the aspiration and the results one.
Zoom folks, that was our 4 minutes.
Thank you, Kristen.
And donut.
You go ahead. Thank you.
I lost the pair of that.
We still have a few more minutes left. If you all want to rotate a little bit.
Yeah, that's what Brad thinks. She's like, I can't. You just need to get organized. Right. What are we doing?
See if anything sparks your interest. You're like, wow, I didn't think about that, or that's a good point, or I disagree, or I have another point.
Time goes by fast.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, we'll try to all come back by 9:38.
Zoom folks, I guess we'll move on then.
Sorry about that. Time is going by so fast.
Nothing in inspiration.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yesterday was.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Oh, that's a good idea. So, yeah, we did that. Oh.
I know, they're so cute. No fear.
No, they're.
No, yeah.
Okay, Zoomies, we should move on to the last one.
Thank you. I'm really liking the things that are both shared in person and Zoom. Yes, you're all great people. All right, we have one more minute. Just take a look at that.
Speaking of which. Someone knows what to do with it, for sure. It's definitely. One of our presenters who came in from Pennsylvania.
Okay. So we're all gonna come back together. All right. So we did our Jamboard. All right. Okay. Thank you all for that. There was both engagement in person and Zoom. Thank you all for the patience. I know this navigating both spaces, but it's very important for me that we interact with each other. So, and there was similar interactions. That's why, like you got the sticky note option for on Jamboard. That's why you all use the sticky notes as well. So now it's time for some dialogue amongst each other. So we're going to take a few minutes. I have a few questions. May I be able to ask all of them because I want to give some additional time for you all to think about your situation. So based on what we just did, both in person and via Zoom, the activity, what did you explore about yourself by doing this activity? I go to one person in person first, then I go to one person in the Zoom. So you can just raise your hand. Oh, go ahead.
We explored the things that we wanted to do, but by focusing on like the opportunities and maybe aspirations, I think it kind of helped us maybe see things from the other side. So like you said, what are our limitations? What are some of the things that we're maybe not considering by saying, I want this thing?
Yes, exactly. Seeing multiple angles of that and including yourself. You have control over that. So great point, shared. Anyone in Zoom? Yeah, if you feel free to raise your hand. Once you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you. But anybody else in person want to share anything? What did you learn about yourself from doing this this activity? Anything new, different? Oh, go ahead.
Well, this kind of gave an opportunity to connect passions, but also think about how that benefits others.
Ooh, yes, yes. Definitely both of those points connect really well together. And especially using this method of SOAR. So think about strengths, opportunity, aspiration, and results. All right, let's go to the next question. So how did it feel to identify your strengths, your aspiration, your opportunities, your result? How did that feel? You know, depending on our work, some of us do that for students. But how did it feel to take time to do that on your own for something professional development that you're going to invest in yourself? How did that feel? What are some things that came to your mind? Was there some resistance to that? Like, yeah, I can't find the answer to it. Or it was very easy or somewhere in the middle?
I think for me, it was empowering to remember, like you said earlier, about having control of the situation or having some control in it, to remember like what you bring to the table and what you can do with the opportunity. It's not just self-serving. So many of us are in service, right?
Yes.
And that there are things that we can do to make the situation better and progress. So.
Yes, great point. Going back to the control aspect and the influence and the impact that you can make and thinking and processing over that as well. Okay. Anyone else? And also feel free to type it in the chat as well for those on Zoom.
For me, it was in the middle. So I do this obviously just within my job as a therapist here at the counseling center, but in terms of like motivational interviewing and being able to identify strengths and gaining self-awareness, but for myself to be able to turn it on myself was harder than expected, which I did not expect whatsoever. And I realized I don't do enough of that for myself, which is a disservice for myself because I do it for my clients and even for others in my world. So it was eye-opening, I'll say.
Thanks for sharing that, especially about the eye-opening piece and how we do that for others within our work, but taking the time to do that for ourselves as well. Anything? What about the results part? The results, or even thinking about aspirations. How did that feel to identify those?
Harder than strengths.
Why is it? Why is that
Well,
harder than strength?
You know what? I think hopefully everybody in this room knows what they're good at, but it's like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? What does that mean? And how does that connect with others? Because you can say I have the strength, but does anybody care?
Because what I hear is the alignment. So how does that, I may or may not identify this, but what does that look like? How does that connection look, feel as well? So great point. And lastly, how can we incorporate this method, if at all? How can we incorporate this, not just in this professional development opportunity, but what else could we apply this in other aspects of our lives?
Kristen has.
Oh, yes. So Kristen's comment is, added some clarity, force you to think deeper about why you want to pursue a particular professional development opportunity. All of us are in different areas. So think about, you have control over what professional development opportunity that you want to get into. So this method is helps you, it's like a roadmap, or I think about a GPS, like you have control over, if you decide, if the GPS says you take a left and you take a left and you take a right, you have control over this. So, all right. Okay, so we have a few more minutes left. Let's see, let's go to the next one. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up, and then we're gonna take the last few minutes to think about, use the situation in your own life. So if you have something to write on, but you can also use your phone as well. So, all right. So how does this all connect? What is this self-advocacy? Why use this method? This method is an opportunity for you to focus on yourself. As we talked about, aligning, thinking about your passions, thinking about the results that you want as well, forcing yourself to focus on you. Because when do we have the opportunity to do that? Most of the time, especially depending on our dynamics of if we have people to take care of, not just the work that we do, but even after this, so you have someone else to take care of, how that can give, how you can give so much to others, but this is a focus on yourself. So as we look at the aspect of the burnout data that is very recent, this is a way for you to have more of an impact, and to explore a little bit more, like, what decisions do I want to make about my journey? As we looked at the second slide, that talked about the dissatisfaction regarding paid fairly, the investment in the career trajectory, and the investment in advancement. Those are things that, if you can advocate for yourself to get paid more, but sometimes you may not be able to, but at least you advocated for yourself. You could say, well, my supervisor should know that I need a pay increase. Yes, all of us need a pay increase. All of us do. But if you don't advocate that, unless you're able to read minds, unless they are, it's going to be hard for them to do that. So then you need to take control over that and come up with a strategy as to how you would do that, especially in this time of still during COVID, worries of financial aspect as well, like, do we have the money, where we're going to get the money from? So this is to put you at the center point. Right. So with the time that we do have, I want you to think about a personal or professional situation that you have, that you can use this method. You can use one aspect of it. You can use all four of them as well. This method is used, I've seen this online by, you can use this companies I've seen, such as Tesla, has used it before, instead of the SWOT analysis, or they did use both, but use this method. Think about your personal and professional life, how you can apply this moving forward. Okay, so we'll take a few minutes to do that, and then I'll close on my last slide. I'll bring us back. Think about one situation. Okay. All right. So if you, since some of you are writing it down, please make sure to keep up with this. One of the hardest things to do is, I know a lot is going on in our lives. We're like, it's another piece of paper. I'll just forget about it. This is something that will elevate you both personally and professionally. So going back on, this entire workshop is about you. Taking the breaths, that's about you. Talking about your passion, that's about you. Introducing yourself and what you do, that is about you. This activity where you outline using the SWOR method, this is about you. And the last, we're wrapping this up to think about your personal situation, it is about you. So what I want you to really take from this is, yes, we're in the helping field. Yes, we do this for students. Yes, we do this for our colleagues. But however, who's going to be the voice for you? And that starts with you. Thank you. Appreciate all of you all. Stop recording.
Stop the recording and then you can